We're in the middle of a chapter, it's a long chapter, chapter 37. I believe we're holding on page 174, I believe, but someplace around there. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining the concept of Yemais HaMashiach, the coming of the Messiah, and Tchias HaMeisim, the resurrection of the dead, which the Torah says that the essence, the purpose of these two concepts is the concept of a Gilui Elokus, is the aspect of the rectification, what's called Tikkun Olam, L'sakin Olam, the Malchus Shin Daled Yud, to misakin the world, to make this world a place, a capability for the resting place of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As God says, this week's Parsha is V'asu li migdash v'shachanti b'seicham, that the Eibusha says that through creating a Beis HaMikdash, shachanti b'seicham, so I can dwell in your midst. So there's Ashras HaShchina. You say it in your davening, and in Chabad, we say it before Baruch Shama, L'Shem Yichud Kutchabricha Ushchinte B'Shem Kol Yisrael, that we are doing the davening, we are trying to accomplish of Yichud, of unity, of Kutchabricha, the God, and the Shchinte, the presence of God, the way He comes into the world. That the concept of oneness between these two concepts, the Shekhinah, the way God rests in the world, and the way God is at the same time above the world. So we're trying to accomplish that aspect, and that needs to be accomplished only through getting rid of tumah, eradicating tumah, cleansing the world, l'sakin olam, to rectify the world. And that's the avodah of a Yid. The avodah of a Jew is l'sakin olam, to make this world tikkun olam, the rectification of the world. Not only that the world, you hear the tikkun olam is a famous word, everybody uses it, but they never say the end of the verse, l'sakin olam, tikkun olam, the malchus shin daled yud, which means in the kingship of God. And it's not only to make the world humanitarian, that's surely gewaldic, and we care about animals, that's also gewaldic, and we care about nature, that's very, very important, and we're rectifying the world. Jews are into nature, are into animals, are into whatever thing that Jews are into, but not into l'sakein olam b'malchus shin daled yud. We need a world for one word, one purpose. You said it yesterday. It's a very powerful verse in Jeremiah in the Haftarah yesterday. The Eibusha says, if not for Torah mitzvahs, I would not need the world. Simple as that. He says it openly and clearly. The world I created so that a Yid can do Torah mitzvahs. If not for that, there's no need for nature, animals, and everything else. That's it. So everything else you need to have we need to have global, whatever, global, I don't even know what I'm saying. We need to have all these things, all these wonderful things, so that this world can be filled with God. And if I have all these wonderful things, but I don't have God, then it's not that's not the creation of the world. And that's what that's what the prophet says. Mashiach comes first. Unless you want to do it for Tchias HaMeisim first. No, actually it says that the tzaddikim are going to Tchias HaMeisim. It says that the righteous, Moshe v'Adoni Mohim, that Moses and Aaron is going to be there. So Tchias HaMeisim is going to come first to some. But Tchias HaMeisim in general will be after. Oh. So that's the whole purpose of why the Eibusha God created the world. Bereshis, the first Rashi, Bereshis, Beis Reshis. The Eibusha God created the world for two beginnings, which is the Torah, which is called Reshis, and Am Yisrael, which will do the Torah. And it will bring God to the world through Torah and mitzvahs. Then you have completed the purpose of the world. But there's one problem. and that is that there's tumah in the world. So you can learn a lot of Torah, and you can do a lot of good deeds, but there's still tumah in the world, and that's why there needs to be the birur hanetzutzos, which Chassidus says there needs to be the birur, the rectification, the sakein olam. It's not only the mitzvah that you do, but it's the way you do the mitzvah with the vessel of the body. And that needs to be rectified, the vessel, the way the Oir Hashem comes into the vessel. Everything has an Oir and a Kli, everything has a energy and a vessel, and the Oir needs to come into a perfect vessel. And that needs to be, that's our Avodah. The mitzvah is done, is min hashamayim. The mitzvah is done, is something that God has given you. The capability to do the mitzvah kehelchasa, the capability to do the mitzvah the way you need to do the mitzvah, and to make sure that the mitzvah is done correctly is our avodah, and that's what we need to do, is to do the mitzvah correctly. And by doing the mitzvah, whether it's a mitzvah say, as Alter Rebbe says, it's a mitzvah sleisa say, not doing the Aveda, we create vessels in this world which brings about godliness in the world. And that's the Aveda of a Yidden, to make a Mishkan, as you're going to learn in this week's Parsha, to make a Mishkan in its detail, in the detail that the vessel that God wants to be made. And that's the way there's Gilul Lekos Ba'ilam. If you create a Mishkan that has vessels, and each vessel is precise. As you read the Parsha, it's precise in its making, it's precise in its dimension, 2.5 cubits by 2.5 cubits. In the minor detail, that's the way the vessel is created for this Oir Hashem to come in. And if I create a different vessel, or I'm moisif, if I add to the mitzvah, or in Geireya, I take away from the mitzvah, then it's not a complete vessel. Then I'm doing a mitzvah, but the Oir Hashem cannot come into it because it's not a vessel that can handle this light. And that's why we need to know Talmud Torah K'nei Kol. We need to learn Torah, to know, to make sure that the vessels that we are doing, the mitzvahs we are doing, are correct. Not that we're still doing mitzvahs. We are doing it correctly, so we know exactly what we're doing. So we accomplished a mission that and that's why it's called Tikkun Olam. There's Toyu in godly worlds. There's Toyu, the world of chaos, which is the breakage of the vessel, and there's the world of Tikkun. We live in a world of Tikkun, the world of rectification, and everything has its place. There's no thing doesn't have its place, and there's no time that doesn't have its time. Everything has a specific place. And that doesn't diminish its value. That actually shows the greatness of it, that you can take an entity that is godly, that is unlimited, and bring it into this time and space situation. So that is, that the Alter Rebbe explains, and to be able to come to the Messianic time, we need to go through this Avodah of Golus, this Avodah of rectification, of changing the world. Because if you're not going to go through the Avodah, then it's going to take a long time. So we need to rectify the world. We need to get to work, and we need to transform this world. And that's our job, my friends. So let's start on page 174. Let's try to learn a little bit, okay, in the Tanya. We never get to the Tanya. Let's try to get to the Tanya. So we're page 174. Let's go to the left column. It follows, therefore, that the whole fulfillment of the Messianic era and the resurrection of the dead, which is the revelation of his glory and godliness, blessed be he, and the banishment of the spirit of impurity from the world, is dependent on the suffusion of his godliness and the light of Eid and Seif Baruch Hu over the vital soul of the community of Israel and all its 248 organs. It's up to us. It's up to every Jew to do his service in the 248 organs in his body, with his body, his physical body, 248 organs, which is the 248 through the fulfillment of the 248 positive commands, as we mentioned before, that the Gemara, the Talmud says that God created every mitzvah in connection to an organ, to a physical part of the body, and that's the connection. That's how we connect. Our body is a small world. Mipsa is expression, mipsari, from my own body, I can see godliness. I don't have to go far. I can see it for myself because I can be able to, if I had the capability, I can be able to connect which mitzvah is connected to which body. The Rebbe said yesterday to somebody in the video, he said that if you want to have, he came to him and said, my eye is hurting me. And the Rebbe said that he has to go to operation. He wished him success in the operation. He said, if you're going to start looking good, you will have good eyesight. If you're going to be an ayin tova, if you're going to look positive, then you will have a healthy eye. And that's the mitzvah. So in essence, the Rebbe told him what the mitzvah is to him to fix his physical eye. And because his physical eye, the concept of sight, is connected to this mitzvah, to the mitzvah of not being jealous, to the mitzvah of looking at everything good, ayin tova, to be able to see it in a positive way, to never look at anybody negative. Why? Because if Chaz Shalom, I use my eye to look at negative at somebody, then I'm using my eye for negativity, Chaz Shalom. I'm using my physical eye for a negative concept. And why would I use my physical eye for a negative concept if I can use my physical eye for a positive concept? Why would God give me eyesight if not to be able to see things in a positive way? So that is the way I connect. That's why I have eyesight. Now, Baruch Hashem, I have eyesight for a lot of other things. Baruch Hashem, I mean, that's cherry on the pie. But the purpose of eyesight is you should have an ayin tova. That's what the Mishnah says. The Eibishter gave you an eye to see things good. And if you cannot use it for that, why are you wasting? Then why would you're using your eye for negative? So why is it worth it? You have expression in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says there are some people yotza scharim besedam. All the positive goes out with the negative. So you can have a lot of positives, but it's all negative. So we have Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter gave us eyesight, which is a wonderful concept. And why do we use it for negative? So why does it need eyesight? Why would God give us eyesight if we cannot use it for something positive? Why would God give us any chush, any capability or potential or sight, hearing, seeing, talking? Last week, Masheka Tirchak, the Rebbe says the same thing, Masheka Tirchak. Masheka Tirchak, when Eibishter gave you power of speech, why would you use it out? For Heipech HaRatzain. The Ratzon of speech was to speak positive. God himself doesn't say something. The Eibishter says more words, not to say an evil word. So why would a person say an evil word? Why would a person use out the capacity of speech for the opposite of the purpose of the creation of speech? Speech was created to create. And why would a person use speech to destroy? That's the opposite of the purpose of why God created the aspect of speech. The Eibishter gives a person, God gives a person the free choice to take an unbelievable thing, speech, and use it out for sheker, use it out for falsity and lies. The opposite of purpose of creation. That's how far God is willing to give a person free choice to go to the opposite of its creation. Total opposite of its creation. That's how a person needs to look at it. And a person needs to realize that aspect.
But you can't turn a blind eye to the negativity that's out there.
No, you have to. No, nobody's saying to turn a blind eye to the negativity that's out there. I'm not talking about if you see negative. The Torah says there's a mitzvah to rectify negative. Lashon hara, most of us talk lashon hara. We're not trying to rectify anything. We're trying to make more tzaddis. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to create more havoc. More havoc. We're looking for more havoc. I'm looking for more havoc. More havoc in the world. That's what we're trying to do. That's it. And it's a chaval to create havoc in the world through our mouths, through the power of our mouths. We create more havoc. Now, the Torah says, if you see something wrong in somebody else, you're obligated to help them out. But you have to do it with Avas Yisrael. You have to do it with the concept of love. So therefore, you have to be able to see how do you rectify somebody else? By building up his good. That's how you rectify somebody else, by building up his good. You build up his good, and through building up his good, now you tell him he can be better. Most people do bad because they think they're bad, and they cannot be good. Chas v'shalom. And that's why we're here with our mouths and our capacities in life to be able to uplift others. And that's how we need to use out our limbs. So in essence, God gave you a loan. He gave you a loan. You're like a renter or a buyer or I don't know what we are exactly. Yesterday you learned there are 4 shomrim. There are 4 watchmen in the Torah. You can be an unpaid watchman. You can be a paid watchman. You can be a you can be a borrower, and you can be a renter. See, this says you can have the same concept. The Abishah gave you a soul. What is your soul? Are you a renter? You're looking for money. You came to the world to get paid. You came to the world as an unpaid watchman. You don't want to get anything back. You came to the world as a shoyel, as a borrower. You're renting the situation. What are you doing in this world? What is the common denominator on all these 4 watchmen? That if you're pesheya, you're responsible. Pesheya means if you're negligent, you're responsible. Right? Pesheya. The only way you're not, right? You're pesheya, you're responsible. Doesn't make a difference. Whether even you're shei mechinam, which is the lowest free paid watchman, if you're pesheya, you're responsible. No way getting away from it, right? So if I've given a soul to God, gave me a soul to watch, and I just was a geneva vaveda, somebody stole my soul, right? But I'm an unpaid watchman, so I'm put to be geneva vaveda, right? If somebody steals my soul, God forbid, I'm potter, right? So if I come to God and I say, listen, somebody stole my soul. What do you want from my life? Right? The world stole my soul. The Yetzer Hara stole my soul. Somebody stole my soul. Right? So if I'm an unpaid watchman, my soul, I'm free. But only if I was not neglectful. If I gave the God of my soul, then that's neglect. If I put my soul in public so that the Ganav can take it, that's neglect. If I hid my soul, right? Let's say you gave me a diamond to watch. I took the diamond and I put it in the safe. And a Ganav came and he broke into the safe and he stole the diamond. I'm potter, right? How can I protect I put it in the safe. But I take the diamond, I put it in the public, and I expect nobody to steal it. That's called peshia. That's called negligence. And if I'm negligent, I am chayiv. I'm responsible. That's why it says you're going to have to make a shvua that you were not negligent. When you come up to heaven, you're going to have to make a vow. Was I negligent or not? Right?
Examples of not negligence.
I just gave you a non-negligent. It was in the store. It was in the bank. I put it in the safe. And the guys broke, as I said, I took a diamond, I put it in the safe.
The soul. Diamond I get.
What do I mean? I'm hanging in places where I shouldn't hang, and I expect everything should be wonderful. Don't hang out in places you shouldn't hang. What are you doing in the bar? And you're not expect to get influenced by Rabbi. Take away from this. Stay in the show. You won't get lost. There's a famous story that once came to Rebbe. It's a story in the 1950s. A person in Israel once wrote to the Lubavitch Rebbe that he wants to go to college. So in Israel, so the Rebbe said you should go and ask the Rav of Kfar Chabad. His name was Rabbi Gerelek, I believe. You go ask him the question. In the 1950s, those days when you came to the Rav, what would the Rav get from the Shilas? It used to be the women used to come with a chicken. They used to come with a chicken. There was a Shilas. Today we don't have that problems, Baruch Hashem. Right? You go buy chicken. It's ready made. Those days they used to have to shech the chicken and salt it and then do everything with it. And then they used to have questions. The chicken would be problems with the chicken. And you had to bring the chicken to the Rav. You had to bring the chicken to the Rav. So this guy comes to this young guy, 20-year-old guy, he comes to the Rabbi Gerelik. He's a long white beard. And says the Rebbe said, I should ask you a question. And this Rav is thinking like, what can I, as he's thinking, Yiddish Mama comes into the office, into the Kvar Chabad. She says, I have a chicken. I have a Shiloh chicken. What's a chicken? What's the problem with the chicken? The chicken, she opened the chicken, and she saw that the chicken ate a nail. The chicken ate a nail one time, and it went through the stomach, and it was found in the stomach, the nail. It's a Shiloh. If it did it puncture the stomach, it's a Shiloh halacha. So the Rav realized that the Eivishter is sibis, the question and the chicken. So he started to talk to the chicken. He said, chicken, in Yiddish. He said, chicken. Look at that. You had a woman, took care of you all your life. And look at that. You had to go into fremde places. You had to go into other people's gardens. And what happens? When you go into other people's gardens, you get a tzvuk. You eat a tzvuk. You eat a nail. Right? You hear this woman is taking care of you, feeding you, giving you all your needs. Why would you go wander into other gardens? You might get a tzvuk. You might get a nail. And what happens if you get a nail? God forbid. It might puncture your innards and it's going to become treif. He's going to come treif. So the young man understood the question and the answer that he received. Wandering into other gardens, I might get a tzvuk. I might get lost someplace. It's dangerous out there. Let me stay where I am. Let me stay in yeshiva. That's a more protective place. It's a better place to be and a more protective place to be. And that was the Rebbe's answer. He felt that was the Rebbe's answer to him.
So that's, to us, probably obvious. The question I had was when you said as a thought that sometimes the soul is protected, but then it's stolen. One would be an example of
again. I open my not to judge myself. I put myself al tivieni l'dei nisoyin. Don't put yourself into a challenge. I put myself into challenges. I look at things that I shouldn't look at. I hear things I shouldn't listen to. I eat things I shouldn't eat. I put myself into situations that I shouldn't be, and that's when my neshama gets stolen. I unprotect it. I'm not protecting it. The Eibishter gave me a neshama to watch, and I'm not protecting it. I'm not keeping it. I'm not keeping it in places that it should be.
So what if it comes down to parents that are not observant, and it was protected in heaven? It comes down. Would that be a better example of where the soul's in a situation where?
No, the neshama came down in this period. People, in the neshama, you can't blame it. A child cannot blame his parents.
Exactly.
He comes bar mitzvah. He becomes now responsible for himself.
So during that time, would you say it was your example that it was protected, but it was stolen? Because
I heard a great story. A guy, last night I heard a story. A guy that was full of tattoos. And he became Baal Tshuva. And he wrote to the Rebbe that he can go through laser treatment to take off his very painful laser. So the Rebbe said, leave the tattoos on. Leave it alone. That's part of your journey. That's part of your journey. The Eivishter in the Shama goes through a journey in a guf. And you cannot walk away from that, so always walk away from that. That could be part of your tshuva. That can be part of the journey that brought you to where you are today. But that doesn't mean that today you need to change life. So you don't have to go away. Chassidus teaches you don't have to per se go away from your journey. The Eibush to put you in that journey. That means God wanted you to be in that journey. You don't have to be ashamed of that journey. It was part of your journey of life. And that's what the Eibush wanted from you, and that's what God did you. You've done it. And now it's time for something better.
Quick story. Man's in the mikvah.
Yeah.
And this young man comes in, and he's very embarrassed. And he's hiding like this, and he's hiding like this. And finally, the man says, "What's the matter? What are you hiding?" And he started crying, and he says, "I have a tattoo on." And the man takes his arm and says, "See, I also have a tattoo." He showed him his numbers. Yeah. He says, "Don't be embarrassed. That's your journey."
One is by choice and one is
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
But even what is by
when you do tshuva,
the point of choice is also not your choice. Lav dafka. Okay, whatever. It's a good story anyway. So the purpose, the journey of a Jew, could be that journey, and ultimately, what's brought him to this where he is. Sometimes a person needs to go through even sin, so to say, to be able to become Baal Tshuva. There's no Baal Tshuva if he never sinned. And the world is based on tshuva. So if we all never sinned, so we would never have tshuva. So that there is tshuva in the world, then there has to be the concept of an avera. I'm not telling you to go sin, people. We need to have. I don't think we have that issue that I need to tell you, but we need to have, to go and do a, to say the joke, the guy who says, comes to Rosh Hashanah, and he says, I never did an avera, I never did a sin. So how am I going to go through Yom Kippur without a sin? I need to do tshuva. How am I going to do tshuva? If I'm such a tzaddik, I never did an avera. So he goes to the Rav, and he tells the Rav, what do I do? I never did an avera. He says, Rav says, you know what? I have an idea for you, that you should go do an avera. He says, what? He says, you should go and out of Yom Kippur, knock on the door of your wife and scream up. She'll come to the window and start screaming at her. So he says, okay, that'll be your aveda. That'll be your aveda. So he comes there, he knocks on the door. His wife comes out to the window. He starts screaming at her, and somebody walks by, and he sees that. He gives him such a zetz. He gives him a slap. And the guy looks up to the wife, and the wife says, what a mitzvah that you did. What a mitzvah. So are we looking for Avedas? Do we need to find an Aveda to do? Do we need to find an Aveda? We, Baruch Hashem, and I would say Baruch Hashem, I don't think we have that issue of an Aveda in our lives. But the Aveda in essence, the sin in essence, comes and helps us to do the tshuva, helps us to repent. And that's part of the journey. Sometimes that's part of the journey in life. And that's a chana mitzvah. Sometimes that's the preparation for the mitzvah. That's the Aveda V'yid, why we were put into the world of Tumah. The Eibishter created sin in the world. If God didn't want sin in the world, then he wouldn't have created sin in the world. He wouldn't have created Yetzirah, Uveda, Chayshech. The Eibishter created light, he created darkness, Uveda Ra, and he created evil. So God is the one who created evil in the world. And it is his fault. And that's why we say that ultimately God will eradicate evil from the world. But it only comes, Chassidus says, that the Alter Rebbe says, it only comes through us doing our avodah. It only comes through us doing that's the partnership. That is la'avda u'l'shamra. That's why I said the Eibishter created the world for Torah, to bring godliness to the world, and he created a Jew as a partner in this creation. That's why there's a big machlekes in heaven. The Gemara says, before man was created, there was a big argument in heaven. Should man be created or not? Is he going to be able to do his job or not? Is he going to be able to accomplish this avodah or not? Will he be able to do it or not? It's a great question. I mentioned yesterday, there's a sikh of the Rabbi on the concept of a loan. You have a loan, which is the concept of this aspect. Of the Eibusher gives you a loan. He gives you a neshama, which is a loan. It's interesting. He gave you a neshama, it's a loan, and he gave you a body also, which is a loan. They're both a loan. They're two different purposes in the loan of the body and the loan of the neshama. Both of them don't belong to you. The neshama doesn't belong to you. The body doesn't belong to you. Both of them you're obligated to take care of. You're obligated to take care of the neshama. You're obligated to take care of your body. You're not allowed to abuse your neshama. You're not allowed to abuse your body either. It doesn't belong to you. And you have to protect your body. And that's one of the reasons why you don't do tattoos, you don't hurt your body, etc. Because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Your neshama surely belongs to God, and your guf also belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Both of them belong to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, we respect the body and we respect the soul. They're both alone. They're both on loan. They're both on loan. So the Gemara asks a question: if somebody takes a loan, somebody loaned me $100, and usually it's a loan could be for, let's say, 30 days. If I didn't make a stipulation, or 12 months, machlekes in the Gemara, how long is a loan that's not without documentation, without paperwork or witnesses? How long is a loan for? So whatever, let's say 30 days. And it comes. That's the minimum. It comes the 25th day. I need the money. The guy needs the money. I say I paid it. Right? So there's a machlekes in the Gemara. Does a person pay his loan before the end of time or not? Does a person pay back his loan early? Rabbi Yochanan says a person doesn't pay back a loan on time, so surely doesn't pay back early. Right? Comes the Shlakish and says, no, a person does pay back early. A person pays back his loan early. And the Rebbe says that the truth is they're arguing not only in a physical or shaila in a loan, but they're arguing also in the Avodas Hashem. Because the Eibusher also gave us a loan. The question is, if a person finishes Avodah in the world, Rabbi Yochanan is a tzaddik, and he says a person never finishes Avodah, he never pays back his loan. The Shlaka says, no, I'm Baal Tshuva. You see, the Shlaka is Baal Tshuva. The Shlaka says, no, what a Yid goes through in the world, he always pays back his loan. He pays it back early. He always pays back his loan. And a person does pay back his loan early. Because if a person goes through whatever he goes through in life, and whatever his guf goes through, and his neshama goes through in life, he surely has paid back his loan. But there's all one stipulation. That's the only one problem, that you were not negligent. That's the biggest problem. That you were not negligent. That you didn't intentionally abuse your neshama. You're not negligent. You didn't do it b'mezid. That's why when you see a Jew always has to say that another Jew is an oinus. That's why you had your oinus. He was unintentionally. As the Rambam says that tinik shenishbu. That Jews today go in the category of Jews that had never brought up in Judaism. And what do you want from them? Tinik shenishbu. And that's the Eibusher forgives. This expression, ignorance is bliss. But for another Jew, ignorance is bliss. To me, ignorance is not bliss. That's the way I have to look at it. To me, I got to learn. For another Jew, I have to forgive. I have to surely ask God to forgive. Right? That's Avos Yisrael. That's to love another person. Why wouldn't I want to ask the Eibusher to forgive another person? What am I jealous that he's going to be in Gan Eden? What am I jealous about? Why would I be jealous that any Jew is not the way he should be? Why would I be jealous? I'm not jealous. I want every Jew to be good, and every Jew should be good with him, and every Jew should go to Gan Eden, and every human being should go to Gan Eden. Everybody should. That's not, I'm not going to be jealous when I come to Gan Eden and say, what are you doing here? How'd you get in? Yeah, I am not going to have that issue, Baruch Hashem. Right? We say in Gan Eden, there's no jealousy. So why I might be jealous here, but I'm not going to be jealous in Gan Eden. Right? So why? But the truth is, the Eibishter wanted last week in the Torah, don't be jealous here. Not only be jealous in Gan Eden, don't be jealous by Olam Hazeh. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. That's a mitzvah. It's not an easy mitzvah. That's what we say, the expression in the Mishnah, why are Shoyim Goyvrim Tzadikim? That's a $1 million question. Why are the wicked prosper? And why do the righteous suffer? So what's bothering me really? That the righteous suffer or the wicked prosper? It's bothering me that the wicked prosper. The righteous suffer, what do I care? But the wicked suffer, I don't like the wicked. What's my asik? What is my, you to learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, Anecha Hashem Elokecha. The Eibush says, I am God, your God. In the Lashon Yachid. And why did God say it? Rashi says, why did God say, Anecha Hashem Elokecha? So when Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Jewish people sin, he said, Hashem Elokecha, you were speaking to me, you weren't speaking to them. You weren't speaking to them, you were speaking to me. That is that's the Rashi, a simple Rashi. So shouldn't we all try to learn a little from Moshe Rabbeinu? Anecha Hashem Elokecha, that I had to look, when it comes to Avedus Hashem, I had to look at myself and not to judge another person, judge myself. Don't judge another person or judge another person always to the right, always to the positive. Why would God give me the capability of judgment if not judging somebody to the positive? Why would I judge somebody to the negative? And Chassidus says the only reason why, the Baal Shem Tov says, the only reason why you judge somebody negative is because you're negative. It's not because that guy's negative, because I am negative. So that's why I judge it negatively. Negativity. But if I was a tzaddik, if I use my judgmentalness to good, then I would never judge anybody negative. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't see negative. But I would say how to fix it. How do I change it to positive? How do I elevate it to the positive side? There's no person, surely no Jew in the world that is totally negative. Malaya mitzvahs kerimim. Every Jew is full of mitzvahs like a rimah, like a pomegranate. So how is it possible that there's a Jew out there that's totally negative? It's not possible. It's impossible. Yeah, it's not possible. Every Jew is perfect. That was not a joke. That was true. And that's what it is. Ahavti eschem amar Hashem. The Eibush says, I love every Jew. If the Eibush loves every Jew, so why can't I love every Jew? It's famous Gemara. The Gemara says, Rabbi Lezer met a Jew, and he said to him, it's a famous Gemara, he said to him, you look ugly, right? You look like an ugly person. And he said the famous answer, Lech lebeirani, go to the one who created me. And the Rebbe explains that why would a Tana say to somebody he's ugly? If he is ugly, why would anybody say to somebody that they're ugly? That's disgusting. That's not a nice thing to tell. If he's ugly, if the Eibishter made him ugly, why would any Tana, any human being shouldn't be disgraceful to somebody else? But he meant actually you look ugly spiritually. That's what the Rebbe Lezer meant. He didn't mean you look ugly physically. He said you're ugly, you're full of Avedis. So the Jew answered, Lech lebeirani. You might not like me, but God loves me. And the proof is I'm here. So the Rabbi Lezer says, you're right. You're correct. That's not the way to rectify you, to say you're ugly. I should have said you look beautiful, but you can look even more beautiful. Right? If you're beautiful, you always can look more beautiful. That should have been Rabbi Lezer, and he asked forgiveness. The Gemara says he asked forgiveness from this Yid. Because the Eibishter loves him. God loves him in his ugliness. Because why? Because God says, I know your potential. You have the potential to come and look beautiful. More beautiful. Actually, that's a Makish Bal Tshuva. When I'm a Bal Tshuva, when I do Tshuva, I look more beautiful because of the Aveda that I did. So because of the sin that I did, now I even look more beautiful. It's a famous story of the Baditshiva who met the Jew. And he said to the Jew, I'm jealous of you. So the Jew said, Rebbe, how can you be jealous of me? I'm a Bal Aveda. I've done so many sins. You're a tzaddik. He says, that's the reason why I'm jealous of you. Because the Rambam says every Jew is going to do tshuva. And when you do tshuva, you know how many mitzvahs you're going to have? All your Vedas is going to turn into mitzvahs. You're going to outrun me. All your sins that you have done is going to turn into mitzvahs. You're going to have unbelievable amount of mitzvahs. So I am jealous of you. That was Aaron HaKohen, right? That was Aaron. Aaron would make peace between people and people. He would even lie. Right? The Gemara says that he would lie. He would go to a friend. He said, your friend is talking nicely about you. He feels, he would lie. So why? Why would he lie? Because how could Aaron HaKohen lie? Because it wasn't a lie. Because truthfully, they do love each other. And that's how he's brought to the essence. You tell a Jew, God loves you. That's the truth. The Eibishter loves you. But you can do it better. Surely he'll love you if you're better. Right? These expressions, is good, is best, and is better. If good, is better, not better. It's always better. What they say, a kid comes home with a mark, he comes home with a C. He's unbelievable, you tell him. He could have been an F. Yeah. Right? Baruch Hashem, you got a C. Right? Right? But if you get a C, next time you get a B. That's it. And the next time you get an A. But if you tell him you're a loser, so next time he's going to get an F. Right? You have to build up a person. You have to be able to tell a person he's good. Every person is good. He has a godly soul. How can he be bad? If he has a godly soul, you can't get rid of you with all your sins. Yisrael, af al pi shechata Yisraelu. A Jew, even if he sins, he's still a Jew. You cannot take that away from him. Can they take that away from him? Yeah.
What about God hating the wicked and the Jews?
God hates the wickedness. He hates wicked. He hates evil. He doesn't hate the person. He hates evil. We all have to hate evil. We have to hate the evilness in the person, not the person. And that's what we need to. We need to hate evil. We need to work on hating evil. Don't make it personal. When we make it personal, then it's impossible to if you're going to negate the person, you destroy the person, then how is he supposed to get out of his evil? If you destroy a person. And then expect him to get out of his evil. That's like telling your kid you're a dumbbell and expect him to be smart. When you told him he's a dumbbell, he's going to be a dumbbell.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
100%. You have to tell a kid that he's not a dumbbell, he's a smart. But he can always be smarter. And that takes harder. Takes more effort to be smarter. Doesn't come easy being smarter. Smart could be something you have on your neighbors to give you brains. Baruch Hashem. You need to be smarter. That is development of negating evil. Because evil has no space. Is not true. Evil is not true. Evil is not really part of a person. It's something that he brought within himself. Good is part of a person. He's created good. No child is created evil. It's created good. And then he learns evil. He practices and he learns and he's taught, or he thinks he's taught evil. And now he has to get it out of the system. It's too much toxic waste. He has to get rid of, he has to detoxation. He has to get rid of it. That means it was never part of him. It was never became part of him. That's the difference between an Aveda and a mitzvah. A mitzvah becomes part of you. You do a mitzvah, as Alter Rebbe says in Chassidus, you do a mitzvah, it becomes part of you. It becomes like part of his existence, because you transform the gashmi, the body, into a spiritual entity. A negative, an Aveda, never becomes part of you. You take it into you. You add luggage to yourself, and therefore you always can get rid of it. Keheref ayin, you can get rid of it in a moment. If I wanted to get rid of it, I can get rid of it in a moment. It's never really me, while the mitzvah has become me. That's the difference between the power of a mitzvah. The mitzvah has become me. I became a Baal Tzedakah. Right? If a person is a child of a person, he's called a Baal Tzedakah. I became a Talmud Chacham. I became a sage. Even though it's not my wisdom, but I became a Talmud Chacham because the wisdom has become part of me. And so to every mitzvah that I do. You know, in essence, you're called a Fruma Yid. What are you, a regular person like any other person? Right? Because it became part of you. The Rebbe says the great Atem Eidai. It's also the same Sikha yesterday, beautiful Sikha of the Rebbe. The Rebbe says Atem Eidai, the greatest thing of a Jew is to be a witness, a testimony. To be a testimony needs to be that you become the testimony. That's the greatest testimony. The person doesn't need to hear the testimony. The person needs to see it. A witness doesn't need to be, and the Rebbe says, Api Halacha, he's based it on a statement in Halacha. A witness doesn't need to be somebody who even says something. If there's a guy standing there, he can be a witness already. He can be a witness even though he doesn't say anything. The Eibusha says the same thing. If a Yid takes Torah mitzvahs and it becomes him, then he's a witness. He doesn't have to say anything. That he lives a certain way of life, that is enough a witness to the world. He doesn't have to give him drushes. He doesn't have to give speeches. He's got to just live it. And that's the greatest testimony that you can have in the world, that the Eibishter is in the world. That there's a God in the world, is that there's a Jew walking down the street and you can see that here was walking a Yid. That is the greatest testimony of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. That's when, and that's what we can accomplish today. That we can see that here goes a Yid. Here goes a Ben Yisrael. Here goes a Bas Yisrael. Here's walking a Yid. He walks differently than anybody else. That is Eidai. Then you become a testimony to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the God in the world. Then you accomplished the purpose of creation in the world. Because the Eibishter wanted, not that there should be spirituality in the books or the shul, but ultimately you change the world. Tikkun Ha'olam. So the world needs to be rectified, that they understand that the Eibishter is there's a testimony to godliness in the world. And that's the ultimate testimony to godliness in the world. That my 248 limbs and my 365 sinews are a testimony to God in the world. That I walk different, that I talk different, that I act different, and that Shabbos is different, and etc. Not only Shabbos is different in a spiritual way, it's different in a physical way. You look in Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says that not only your dress needs to be different on Shabbos, your speech needs to be different on Shabbos, your machshava needs to be different on Shabbos. There needs to be that the physical body feels different on Shabbos. And it's seen that way. It's seen that way. And that's why we talk dress different on Shabbos. We should. And we eat different on Shabbos. And we shouldn't speak the way we speak during the week on Shabbos. That is Eidus. Eidus, that's the greatest testimony that you can have in the world. So here the Alter Rebbe, in essence, says something that we can accomplish, to be able to accomplish. You say, wait for Mashiach, I'll wait for Mashiach. No. We can not have to wait for Mashiach, nothing. We can do it right now. And the truth is, you're not going to do it now, then we're going to wait a long time. We're waiting 2,000 years already for Mashiach. So we need to do it now. Because why? Because as long as the body is impure, everything's left in machshava, and everything's left in the book, but the body stays impure, then there's impurity in the world. And I cannot accomplish godliness in the world if there's impurity in the world. If the Gashmi does not change, and I don't see the Gashmi become a Ruchni, that means if I don't see in myself that I'm changed because of the Torah physically, then that means my body is still tummy, is still impure. The world's not coming to an end, but my body is still impure. I'm tummy. Why? Because I don't feel that the Torah has changed anything in my body. I think it's the same. I'm doing the same. I'm talking the same like any other guy. Mitvasheket tirchak. That's what the pasuk says. Mitvasheket tirchak. Even from Dvar Sheker, a person should run away from. Don't say a false thing. Because if I could say a false thing, then it shows that I'm an impure person. I thought that way. I said it. So why would you say a false thing? If you can't say something real and something truthful, don't say it. Be honest. Say the truth. What does the David HaMelech say? Somebody who says the truth is his own detriment. That's what a person needs to do. That's what a person needs to realize that he's pure inside and pure outside. His body has become a vessel of purity. So it's not so hard for me to understand impurity. It's not a very difficult thing for me. I'll talk for myself. It's not a very difficult thing for me, myself, to understand impurity. Because I have impure thoughts. No, yeah. No. Not me. I'll say it to the camera. It's 100% possible. Because we have machshava zadas. We have impure thoughts. We're jealous of others. We think about that. We dislike others. We think about it. We get angry. We have hate. Come on. We're humans. And we're impure. We have impurity. And we need to break that impurity. We need to work on breaking that impurity. And to making ourselves purer. To make our neshama affect our body. Not only that we believe we have a neshama, we're Jews. No, to make our guf better vessel for this neshama. So my neshama is not abused in this body. My neshama that's pure is now speaking impurity. Could there be a greater abuse to a neshama than that is pure to speak impurity? Can you imagine taking somebody that's pure and forcing it to say something impure? What abuse that you take a tzaddik? You might imagine taking a tzaddik and forcing the tzaddik to say something negative or to say something foul or to say something evil. But that's what we're doing to our neshama. The tzaddik, my neshama is a tzaddik. My neshama is a pure entity. And I'm forcing it against its will to think something impure, to say something impure. Why would I do that for? Why would I do that intentionally?
Right.
That's amazing. Why would I? That's pshia. That's negligence. That's negligence. Why would I be negligent intentionally? So that's the thing. And the management of the spirit of purity through the observance of 365 prohibitions, so that the 365 veins do not derive nature from it. Why would the 365 veins, when I do something negative, now my veins, right? If I think negative, all the veins, when I talk negative, all the muscles are all used. My mother always used to say, it takes 70 muscles to frown, it takes one muscle to smile. Why would you use 70 muscles to frown? You're overworking to frown. You're overworking. It's knocking you out. For the community of Israel comprised, that's a little Kabbalah. Community of Israel comprised of 600 particular souls. This is a famous statement of Zohar. The Arizal explains that there's 600,000 souls, general souls, which is symbolic of the 600,000 Jews that went out of Mitzrayim, is a source of life for the world as a whole, which is created for their sake. And each one of them contains in it related vitalities of one part in 600,000. You got that? 600,000 times 600,000. What number is that?
Big.
600,000 have 600,000.
36 quadrillion.
I don't know. It's a lot of souls. A lot of souls. Of the totality of the world. That's it. We're trying to change the whole world. 600,000, 600. That's why the neshamas have to keep on coming back and changing and mutating into other souls and other souls. Every soul, these 600,000 souls had the capability of cloning itself into 600,000 souls. A lot of souls. Heck of a lot of souls. 360 billion. Kenai Nahada. Imagine when Mashiach comes to Chias HaMeisim, there'll be 360 billion Jews. Trillion, billion. Trillion. He says trillion, you say billion. 15 million Jews is driving me crazy. 660 billion.
The question is, who's going to control the traffic?
I don't know. Not me. Of the totality of the world, which part depends on his vital soul for the elevation of God through its own elevation. So therefore, this soul can become another soul, but it cannot have its purpose without the vital soul, without the nefesh habahamis, without the body. It cannot do its purpose in creation. So what's the great? They have 600,000 souls, 10 million souls, 600 billion souls in heaven. It's all not the purpose of why God created even the soul. The God created a soul for the purpose of this world, to come into this body, and therefore the soul needs to come into this body. And therefore the question is how long the soul comes into the body. Whether it comes into the body a month or 2 months or a year or 60 years or 90 years. But the importance is the purpose of this soul, what it came down into this body for. By the virtue of the individuals partaking in this world for the needs of his body and the vital soul in the service of God. So in essence, if you understand, the Kabbalah said there's 600,000 souls, which makes up a nation, Am Yisrael. And if these 600,000 souls did not complete the mission of Matan Torah, then that's why we're still having that journey for 3,000 years. And you cannot say it's not important me. No, because you are, me and you and each one of our neshamas are connected to one of those 600,000 souls. And that soul needs that journey till it completes the journey. And that's why we need to do whatever we can, not only for our own elevation of our own soul, but to the soul of the 600,000 souls of Yetzi Mitzrayim who went out of Egypt. And that happens by eating, drinking, and the like, his dwelling, and all his utensils. And that's the way it is. The Eibishter, that's what Yaakov Avinu says. If you give me beged lilbash, if you give me clothes to wear, and you give me food to eat, and you shafti b'shalom beisavi, you bring me back home, you give me a house, now I can accomplish my mission. I can accomplish my mission in this world. Baruch Hashem, we all have clothes, we all have food, we all have a roof over our head. Now we need to accomplish the mission. We need to accomplish that purpose. We need to be able to make that this bias, this home becomes a Beis Hashem. This home becomes the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's not only accomplished by putting a mezuzah on the door, it's accomplished by a lot of other things. By making sure it's kosher home, by making sure that there's a house of learning, it's a place of learning, it's a place of study, it's a place of prayer, it's a place of chesed. There's a lot of things that need to go through this home. The Rebbe would always say, and the Alter Rebbe soon will bring up the power of tzedakah. That's what the Rebbe once said. You need to have that, just like the walls are connected. The pushka needs to be part of the walls of your house. It needs to be a pushka on the wall of your house. It needs to be drilled into the wall of your house. You need to hang a pushka on your house. Your walls need to be a place where a pushka is hanging. Not only, you need to create a home of chesed. You need to be able to do that. Then your house is different. The person who walks into the house, he needs to feel that the home is a different home. Not only it smells good, food, but the home is a holy home. How do you walk into a Jew's home and a person feels like it's a holy home? You have to feel that can the Eibishter walk into my home? Can God walk into my home? What is going to catch in my home? What is he going to find in my home? Imagine the greatest sage is coming to your home, right? He's coming in an hour to your house. Okay, what are you getting rid of? What are you getting rid of in your home? Imagine that happens, right? The Rebbe is coming to your home, right? You can say, no, I can't. I need a couple hours. All the stuff I need to get rid of from my home. All the narishkeit, all the shtusim, I need to empty out of my home. I need to get rid of it, right? I need to run to the Judaic store. I need to buy some books. I need to buy some holy books, because imagine coming to my home and there's not a Gemara in my house. You can't open a Chumash. You can open up every shtusdik book there, but you can't find a Chumash. See, imagine. But that's what happens. So imagine a Shama comes into the house. You might be a beautiful home. He doesn't feel homely. He doesn't feel homely at all, because there's nothing Jewish in his house. There's nothing holy in his home.
Someone said once to me, imagine that an alien comes down and is with you for a week. Is there anything about that week that he'd be able to figure out you were Jewish?
You don't have an alien. When you close the door, the Eibishter walks into your home. He walks into your home. It says every Friday night, the Malachim come into your home. The angels come into your home. If they see the home is set up, there's a Shabbos table, there's candles, the beautiful Jewish home, they give a bracha. We'll meet you next week again in your home. Your Malachim, the Eibishter walks into your home. Every time you walk into the house, you're walking in with your neshama. You're walking with the Eibishter into your home. That's what the Rebbe said. You need a home bayis malei svarim. You need your home full of Jewish books. There will be no room for Goyish books. You have no room because it's full of Jewish books. You think in a Shama cares about Moby Dick and the Chvezva, some other book, Macbeth. That's what he wants to read. He wants to read a Gemara. He wants to read a Mishnayos. He wants to read a Chumash. That's what he wants to read. That's what he wants to have, my friends. No, it's serious. You need to do that. You need to. Mashiach's coming. And what happens? He comes in a second. You're gonna have to throw everything. You're gonna have to. People be throwing out the windows. They'll be throwing things out because they don't have time. Like this now, you can sell it. You can make some money. Sell all the shtusim avalim. Get rid of all the garbage, and you'll make some money. At least you're gonna be throwing out in the house. You're gonna be throwing it out the window. It's never mine. It was Hefker. I don't know. It's not mine. It wasn't mine. It was never mine. I'm telling you guys, Mashiach's coming. Let's throw the things out of our home. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of the stuff we shouldn't have. Because you make a dwelling. The Eibush doesn't only dwell in your body. He dwells in your home. He's in every part of your home. There's no secrets for him. So he's in every bed. He's in your bedroom. He's in every room of your home. So you have to think. I have to think about it. The Eibush still want to sit with me in this room, or he doesn't want to be in this room. This is not a room for him. That's the question you need to ask. That is getting rid of impurity. You need to start impurity from your clothes, sneers. You need to start impurity in your food, echel, what you eat. And you need to be impurity in your house. If you can't have impurity in your house, how are you supposed to have impurity in the world? If we cannot have a pure home. We cannot have a home.
Truly can control.
Right? It's a pure home. It's a pure home. What's happening outside is happening outside. I can't control the world, but I can control my home. So I brought the world into my home. So the world has become part of my home? No. The world is the world. It's a big world, and it's a hard world to change. I can't change my home. I surely can change my home. My home could be a pure home. It could be a house of holiness. It could be a house of spirituality. It could be a house where negativity doesn't come in. It could be a house of happiness. It could be a house of joy. It could be a avay mahois. The Rebbe would say, you should have avay mahois. You should have a warm home. Warm home, right? You go to some people's home. They have beautiful homes. It's like a museum. Yeah, museum. I don't need to go to your home to be in a museum. I can go to nicer museums. Your home needs to be a varma home, and you can feel a warm home. You can tell what's a warm home. You can know what's a warm home, and that's what we need to do. V'asu li migdash v'shachanti b'seicham. David says, make for me a home, migdash. V'shachanti b'seicham. I want to come and dwell in that home. I want to move in with you. The question is if you want him to move in. But David says, I want to move in. I want to be a guest. I'm a guest. And when you're a guest by Jews, you never leave. So, I'm coming in. I'm coming home. I'm coming home with you. Are you inviting me? I'm invited to your home. Okay, so welcome. Hopefully you have a comfortable place for me. That I come here, I'll be comfortable. Yes. What? 100%. That's the thing. The question is, I always just say, at least by me, I said, when my father's alive, what happens if my father comes to my home? Will he be comfortable in my home? Or will he be uncomfortable in my home? My father-in-law too. These people will be comfortable in my home. Or will I have to tell them, listen, it's different, and your home is different than my home, and you have to get used to it's a different home. Or will they come into the house and say, I feel comfortable. It's like an extension of my home. It's a different place, but it's an extension of that same home, which I was brought up with, and I was with my parents' home. And that's what we need to try to do. Cannot tell them, no, it's a different home. It's a different world. Same world. Make your home. Don't make the world your home. L'saken olam. Don't say l'saken your home to look like the world. You have to build your home to change the world. And if we can't change our homes, then how are we going to change the world? If we can't change our physical home, our body, which is also our home, for our neshama, which is also this home of our soul, how are we supposed to change how are we supposed to change the world, or even our home, or in the world, if you cannot make our body, that 248 limbs and 365 sinews, try to eradicate the tumah, the impurity, as much as possible, to get it out of the garbage out of my mind, and the stupidity out of my speech, and surely the actions that I might do, chas v'shalom, God forbid, in a negative way. And that will continue next week, Be'ezat Hashem.